Welcome, everybody. This is PnP Weekly episode 245. One man, one mission.
One desire.
Double the excitement. Now, episode 245. It is 15th of April, 2024. And good to be back on the weekly show as well. So this time, in the PnP Weekly, I was talking about the latest on Microsoft 365 and related technologies like the Power Platform and GitHub and a lot of other stuff as well. And we typically have an interview. This time our interview was with
Today our guest is Nishkalank Bezawada, who is a MVP. He is in Sweden, and we talked to him about his journey from being a .NET dev to moving to SharePoint to becoming an MVP, and how things change on the tech space, but also how things have changed for him. So without further ado, let's jump into the interview.
Let's do that. Excellent. Let's get started. So welcome, Nish. Welcome, Nish, to the PnP Weekly episode. Waldek helped me to
245.
245. Thank you. It's good to have you in the show. As always. Nish, can you do a quick intro of who you are and what I do for a living, and we'll move forward from there.
Absolutely. So yes, this is Nish. My name is Nishkalank Bezawada. I prefer, or people love to call me as Nish. So I work as a solution architect in SharePoint online, and M365 SharePoint online in Stockholm. I've been living here since last 5 years.
Okay.
To be my journey started as a .NET developer 13 years ago, and slowly I started to pitch into SharePoint 2010, and then 2013, and then to SharePoint Online.
Yep. Yeah.
And I had a break. So for 2 years, I showcased myself as a React developer, and then came back to SharePoint Online, which actually helped me to grow more into SPFX framework a lot. So this is how it was, and as I said, Waldek. You were my first, person who always used to come in, whenever I had this issues with SharePoint. So I used to search for, the solution, and then here you go, Waldek's post is there.
Brilliant. Brilliant. There you go. Like, we established who was the one person on my blog too. It was you for all these years. Awesome.
And no, that's how it started, and it's going on pretty well. I'm really very, to be honest, I'm not a good talker. I'm not a good speaker.
Okay, we're among friends. Yeah. It's okay.
There's actually 3 of us who are not great talkers, so
that is true.
I think we can just rename this show just to there is nobody else, nobody's listening. It's going to be just 2 of us who are going to hear the episode, so no worries about that. Let me ask you a thing, because you mentioned something that intrigued me. You mentioned that you began way back when as a .NET dev, and then you moved to SharePoint 2010, right? I get it right, correct?
Yes.
What was do you recall what was your experience like? Because in .NET, I recall then I actually did it the other way around, where originally I worked with PHP, Apache, MySQL, then moved to SharePoint, and then I go to build things in ASP.NET. And I was like, oh my God, now I need to build all of that stuff like navigation, permissions, all myself. Where in SharePoint, I got it for free. You gotta go the other way around. How did you find transition from .NET to SharePoint? You recall that?
Yes, absolutely. That was when I was when we were actually using SharePoint 2010 as a DMS. So from an web application, we used to hit SharePoint APIs to get some links and as such. So that was when I started to look more into SharePoint. What is this doing? Why, because this is a standalone application, SharePoint 2010, and we are having a similar application which we have built it on .NET. So that actually made me or like switch my interest into SharePoint. Because you have everything. Let's say like if you want to, you have a complete package, to be honest, in SharePoint 2010. So instead of like building up from a start, you already if you have an application which is already set up, then why can't you develop more on that application? So that actually shifted my interest into SharePoint to learn SharePoint things. But then and then I started to I loved event receivers, timer jobs.
Oh yeah. I recall that. And there's like even interesting things because like I recall when I started building on SharePoint 2007. Like I became a part of a team of folks who were experienced .NET devs. So the way they approached everything is they would use data grids, repeaters, all those things. And only then, after a while, and like there was also this thing called a smart part that allowed you to embed ASCX, so the ASP.NET user controls as a web part, and that was really great thing for a .NET
From
dev.
Jan
That was really cool. Yeah.
Let's just give him credit. So that was good.
Totally.
Widely adapted.
But then the weird thing is, like, so for all these months, like we would build web parts with repeaters, data grids, and then we realized, but there is this content query web part that allows us to do the same thing without code.
Exactly.
So why? So that was kind of like trying to force a round peg through a square hole, like thinking .NET in SharePoint, where it's a platform with building blocks that you can just use as opposed to build everything from scratch. So there was I have a good memories of like learning what's available in a box, and then every day you find out yet another new part that is really cool, and there were no docs. So the only way to learn it was through ILSpy, Reflector first, all these things. Like, the memories.
I still have some code samples, which I have written 12 years ago, I guess. It's jQuery.
Oh yeah,
and then,
yeah.
Embedding it into SharePoint page just to like I used to write these weird alert functions saying that hit me.
Yeah.
So and then I actually forgot. I deployed it and then it was on a production thing. I was just showing it to my manager. Hey, see, I've done this thing. I did a reload, and then this alert came in. Hit me. He was looking at me. What have you done? Please change it. Please change it. Revert.
Do not, and I repeat, do not hit me. Do not hit anybody.
Now, Nish, related on this kind of, you've seen a lot of stuff and you have a lot of experience related on transitioning. You went to the React game back, but how do you see as a developer within your role within the day-to-day work? Have we reduced opportunities for you, or have we increased opportunities for you related on what we have in the cloud, from the on-prem transitioning to the cloud and all of the services available?
To be honest, Vesa, if I say transitioning from on-prem to on cloud, as a developer, we are doing the same thing, but on a different platform. On premises, let's say we used to develop event receivers, we used to write schedule jobs and all, but now in Azure, you use a different way of implementing things, but but actually overall principle is same.
Sure.
And I don't really feel that it's there is some challenges to the developers on this particular thing, but I don't actually say that. But as a developer, one should actually eventually learn on a day-to-day basis, and then he or she has to go on, proceed.
Yep.
No complaints, nothing doing.
Cool.
And
Cool.
So in
I
other
also
words, like there is nothing for us to improve. Everything's perfect.
I mean,
well, there are certain small things, right?
Gathering quotes from our MVPs live. No worries about that.
yeah. Well, if I wanted to talk about complaints, there are a lot. For instance,
We only have 20 minutes, so.
oh yes.
No,
But one
so
thing I wanted to
on that
improve.
note, what would be your, I don't know, let's say top 2 or top 3 improvements? Top of mind. I mean, you can be blunt. We're among friends. You know, you can
Yep.
be blunt. You can be honest, frank. What would be your
Mhm.
top 2 or 3 things you
No
would love
limits,
us to see
no
improve?
resource limits, no nothing. The top 3
If
things.
you had a
what you
magic
would like
wand and you can do ridiculous, what would you
Ridiculous.
fix? Or you would do Accio web part, or I don't know.
All right. The first one would be with a small improvement with Graph API, because using Graph API, you can obviously we are able to get list items, all the list items, but there is one parameter which is missing, which is order by, ascending
Okay.
or descending. So I wanted to improve or like start working or start digging into it, why it has not been implemented. The order by is not implemented so far. So I just wanted to see or like dig into that for now. That is my actually
Number
to do
one. Okay.
That's
number
one.
one.
Yes.
Number 2. Is there another one? Putting you totally on the
no
spot,
limits,
no exercise,
no,
didn't prep this
yes,
at all, like
we
top of
didn't
mind.
prep at all, but just out of your hand, no limits whatsoever. Microsoft resources in your consumption. What would you like to do?
I don't have it in my mind right now, because
Okay.
this is actually huge, Vesa. This is huge, and if you just pinpoint me, what do you want to change? Like, I will be like totally surprised, because
Yep.
a magic wand in my hand.
Yeah,
I'll
and
be
you can
looking
do
at.
That's fair.
anything.
That is fair.
You can do anything. You can just tap it, like I have a web part. Like I want to have a web part that does things, and it's there. I don't know. You can maybe, I don't know, improve GitHub Copilot empowered to build SPFX things, or easier cloud debugging. Like you press F5 and all debuggers are attached to all processes that you've got. Because that's one interesting thing you mentioned, right? In the past, when we used to build things on SharePoint on-prem, like you can build in a box, like everything would, like you run a VM and everything would just run on the box, and you could press F5 and attach debugger, and it would just go. And whether you build a workflow timer job,
It took a while to figure out how to do that, but eventually
but like
the
once
ecosystem
you
was able to do
did,
that.
that's not the point, right? So the point
Yes.
being that you had like end-to-end debugging experience over all components that you would build in your app.
Sure.
That's not the case anymore, because now we are in a cloud. So you build distributed apps, right? You have some things on Azure, some are long running operations. You've got webhooks, you've got things. Debugging that isn't trivial, right? Because like you need to trigger things, and they are run and here and there, and you can emulate some things locally, some other things you might not be able to easily, right? So if anything else, I would love to have like a solid experience where you press F5 and it just works, and you can debug and step through things and verify your code. What about that? Would that sound okay?
Sounds actually interesting.
There you go. There you go. We have a number 2. Perfect.
There we go.
Yes. Make it. Accio debugging. Yes.
This is how we design software in Microsoft. No, we don't. But anyway. But you're in general, you seem to be pretty happy about the platform. So it's not that there wouldn't be opportunities, and we can address those customer requirements and all of that stuff. Any kind of do you have any thoughts on your favorite, let's say, features which you run into lately, or what Microsoft has been releasing in the Microsoft 365, or what you've been using, or what you extended on? So
I loved SharePoint framework, and I'm in love with that. To be honest, because I myself, I mean, there are many ways to or like develop things, but using SPFX, it made like life easy
Yeah.
for people
Yes.
like me. And then I'm not. I mean, maybe we should also think using SPFX framework. Can we also start creating some flows, or like just like a build up the JSON and then just
Deployment
uh,
mechanisms. Yeah.
deployment? Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, yeah, maybe in future,
Yeah.
Waldek
Yeah.
might come with a nice one and then say like, okay, here
You're
you
probably
go.
right. For the reference, I've got zero influence on or say in what's being built by where. I am not in that team that decides it. I am not an engineer, so I'm not building anything around SPFX. Just for folks to know, because before everyone said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to ask him, and we will have it." Like, no, that doesn't work that way.
Luckily, you have somebody from the team in the call, so we can bypass the
Yes.
information at least. So,
No.
Microsoft roles are complicated and responsibilities are complicated for sure, especially externally, because we're not being always super clear on who's responsible and doing what, but still. So SharePoint framework definitely works, and I do agree on that one. I've been, not recently, but when I think about the timelines of from on-prem to the cloud and then finally making cloud really suitable, we had this moment of a time where we talked about SharePoint add-ins and Office add-ins came from like 2013 to 2016, 2017 before SPFX took over. That time was complicated because there were so many scenarios. And coming back on the use cases, the use cases are exactly the same. We have a scheduled tasks, we have a UX extensibility requirement, branding, all of that. Those are not going to change, but how you enable end users or developers to do that changes. And I think farm solutions, we had full flexibility. We could do whatever we wanted because we did
For good and
sites.
bad.
For good and bad. We did .com sites. We did sites which didn't look like SharePoint because that was a common requirement. Then we had the SharePoint add-ins, which were incredibly limited. And then, well, luckily we had the PnP initiative trying to figure out on how to do those things. Well, that's where the PnP started, is actually from a few customer projects where we started, pushing the limits of adding model. But then we were able to actually catch on to SPFX. And then that really made everything more flexible and usable for sure. So, and still ongoing after 7 years of GA, and tens of millions of monthly active users for custom components, and usage is growing. It's mind-boggling.
Speaking of things that evolve, right? So you mentioned that way back when you were a .NET dev, you got to develop SharePoint things, and nowadays you are an MVP. How did that come to be?
See, I personally, or like maybe I've read a lot of blogs and then like used products which have been or like the property controls in SPFX and all, and then I felt like one day that I should do something back to the community, because the community has given a lot to us, to the developers like me. And one day I thought like, okay, I should give back the community, with some kind of contributions. I didn't know about, or like I didn't have any plan to become a MVP, to be honest. I started off with finding a bug, and then just pushing a pull request into uh, PnP PnP SPFX controls, and then I got my first badge as a community contributor. I showed that badge to my mother. She was literally ill, and she was actually battling cancer stage 4, and she was on her deathbed. That is when I received this badge. I showed her, saying that, Mama, I got a badge from Microsoft. She looked at me and said, uh, I don't know what it means, but you just do what you love to do, and one day you'll realize what you'll become with that.
Yeah.
And after 4 months, I mean, she died within 3-4 days, and I was just recollecting what she actually told me. For 4 months, I didn't do any kind of contributions, but um, and then it was my wife also who supported me. She actually reiterated what my mother told me, and then my wife said, "Please go ahead, start doing what you love." Then I went on with a bang. Like I used to contribute almost. I guess my longest streak was around 8 pull requests in 1 month.
Mhm.
I really felt really proud. It was last summer, and
Yep.
last summer everything business was closed, so I was like free. In my free time, I started to like okay, push this, push this, push this. That's it.
Yeah.
Uh, that is where actually I started to think about becoming a MVP, and then I wished someone would have noticed me, and then there you go. Joel has come up saying that, hey, I've been noticing you. You are doing great work. Why can't you be an MVP? I was like, am I ready?
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
really
yeah. And then one day you open inbox because that's the way things work. Like we don't send
Yep.
owls or pigeon. You open inbox. There is an email saying you are an MVP. What is the
No,
first
you are
thought?
nominated to be an MVP,
Yeah,
and
so
then
that is
to
first
put a
one, and then
So,
you submit things, impatiently
yes,
wait for the verdict. But then from
yes.
one day, there's the email. You are
Yep.
an MVP. What is the first thought going through your mind?
I actually literally cried on the same desk as soon as I saw that email. It was at 9 o'clock, March 1st.
Uh-huh.
March 1st, we were actually planning on a holiday. I just took a couple of days holiday, and then I asked my family to pack everything. The car is loaded. I was about to get into the car, but I saw some notification on my mobile phone.
Bing, you've got mail.
Yes, it was from Microsoft, so I didn't want it to lose it.
Yep.
I came here, I looked at it, checked the email, and then I shouted. I started to cry.
Awesome. That is so
But
cool.
that's a great start for a vacation as well, because it's like achieved. Yes, let's go and get some relaxation. So
That is true. That is true. I mean, the whole journey, it was 300 Swedish miles from Stockholm. We traveled, and
yep.
the whole journey, I was like always smiling, looking at the road.
And everybody's like, what's with this guy? Yep, I did a thing. Oh,
Yeah.
that is so cool. So what's changed? What's changed
Uh,
since you became an MVP, if anything?
I'm uh, actually for 1 month, I wasn't able to come out, or like I wasn't able to believe myself that I'm an MVP. And after that, like I started to do a plan of what I'm going to or like how I'm going to impact others as well as
Yep.
being an
Mhm.
MVP.
Yep.
So I have a few things which is in my pipeline. The first would be, maybe I can share this. Uh, I actually if I would have not become an developer, I would have become a story writer, or like
Cool.
writing comedy satires,
Cool.
and also like doing stage theater in my own language.
Uh-huh.
So I would have become an actor like that. But
Yep.
now, I mean, since I have this sense of comedy, comic sense, so I wanted to start a SharePoint memes page in an Instagram, and then like create some memes on SharePoint, on SPFX, or like things like that. So that is one initiative I'm just thinking of. The second one would be like a code hackathon, or like clean up all the bugs in which is there in the PnP community. Maybe like
How much time would you like the hackathon to last?
that can be take a while. So
I mean, it's a big place. We have a bunch of code, so
yes.
guaranteed there are
exactly,
things that could be improved.
probably like at least one in a day. I'm trying to check for first the smaller things first, and then start working on it, and maybe then I can announce like, okay, this is day one. I have completed number one bug.
Yep.
Day two, like until maybe 31 bugs at least.
Yep.
But you mentioned an interesting thing, right? So you mentioned kind of that your interest goes into the stage comedy. By coincidence, and we totally haven't talked about it. We haven't even met before this call. Just the other day, I watched a presentation of somebody about how you talk to devs, or how you should talk to devs, and it was all about like how can you effectively convey a message in your head across when you are in a room, and how you keep engagement and kind of the balance between entertaining versus informing.
Yeah.
One of the things the person talked about was like engaging the audience, and that sparked with me the idea. Like I went to ChatGPT asking it for a stage script to explain OAuth flow. Brilliant. Like it would come up with, I asked it to like use actors for like different roles, like you have the app, the client, the server, identity provider, use props for a token and code. Awesome stuff. I was like, damn, like I would love to do that live, like have just do it, like explain and see, because like auth is really hard, right? Like it's a abstract thing. Like I recall the first time ever.
Really. So sorry for saying that. I would Waldek, and jump in there. I would almost say that auth feels hard. It's hard to understand. That then when you get it, it's like,
well, but it's like with anything. It's with anything the same
exactly.
way. Like it's hard until you get it, but like
until it clicks.
Like I recall,
why was it so difficult?
Yeah, but it's exactly that. Like I recall the first time ever I got exposed to auth, I was like, so I want to log into this site, and then you're sending me there and there, and then I get a token. So, what? Like, how does that work? Like it didn't make any sense. So here I got a like stage script for a piece from AI. Like, hey, you could go about it. It's like, that's interesting. That's intriguing. Like one day I want to be able to do it on stage. Like, hey, like let's just grab a few folks from the room, from the audience. You will be actors. Everybody will get their own script, and let's see if that will help people understand auth.
That's a great workshop. Conference session potentially. So
exactly. Yes.
If it's done properly, if it's that's not good. That's a good idea.
But I mean, it only shows, right, that our talents and interests can be very much combined with our work, and can make for things, for more playful, entertaining, engaging things too. Like, it doesn't always need to be like you got to be rigid and very strict.
Sure.
So with that, I wonder, like, what would be your stage play, your script that you would write for related to our work?
I
bet you have one on your mind already.
I actually, yes, I had one. I wanted to include that slide in one of my presentation in the PnP community. I then showed it to David, and then David said, like, okay, do we really need it? Maybe,
really?
It was David, we need to talk. So
yes.
It was about developers getting badges from the community. So it's kind of a meme which I've created, and then said, David, can we include this one? So he said, like, well, maybe no, yes, I'm not sure. So then I said, like,
memes are always hard, because there's always the cultural background dependency and the awareness. So in certain areas of the world, people can take it even in an offensive way, because if they don't get the joke, and then so, but it's always hard. So trying to find the right balance. So that's why I realized, at least in a community calls or wherever, you can always laugh at yourself, but you should never laugh to anybody else. So
and I mean, you can always laugh at us or from
oh, the things, Waldek. Anyway.
I have no idea what you're talking about anyway.
It's fine. Now, Nish, so Can you talk a bit about your day-to-day work? How does that look like? After all of these years, you've done things. So how does a typical day look for you?
It starts off by dropping my kids at the school, come back, and
Quite
then
typical.
brew coffee.
Quite typical.
Have my have
We
my coffee in my
Scandinavians, we
hand.
do coffee. Yes, we have always coffee on our hands. So
Exactly.
moving
We
mugs.
even
moving
have
mugs.
the right mugs to show it.
Exactly.
I actually don't have right now.
I am not in
but yes.
Scandinavia even. There you go. I am very much a wannabe. I have a Swedish desk, a Finnish mug, Swedish art behind
Yeah,
like
there
the
we go.
black thing.
Yeah.
There you go. So
Close enough.
the cabinet too, by the way. So
Of course.
From IKEA.
yes.
Fine.
Exactly.
Yes, it starts off like that, and then the first half would be more into, since I work as a lead developer and as well as SharePoint architect or like solution architect. So the first half would be more on concentrating on developing things.
Yep.
And then the second half would be a couple of hours I would take out in documentation, and then the last couple of hours would be like testing. So daily it would be more into my tasks would be into development of things itself, because maybe like sometimes it might change with some solution discussions, architectural discussions, but yeah, this is more of my work schedule. uh,
Yep.
Then back after 4 o'clock in the evening, I'll just take a quick 1 hour break and then come back to my desk for checking new things on my on the PnP community mostly. And then like some I mean I usually take my kids to the basketball and swimming, so that would be a complete day off, or like
Yep.
complete of the day actually. And
Yeah.
then
What kind of projects are you nowadays been doing for the development side? Any examples? We don't need to say customer names, of course, which we shouldn't. But what kind of things are being built?
We at Bravero, we are actually focusing on few things, which is document management system, which we have, which we ourselves have developed completely right from the beginning. The second thing is contract management, which is also similar to the document management DMS, would say. We also have employee search, which is like really very good thing. It's like employee search, and as well as like it's maybe I could say it, and I could use this Swedish word, med arbetare It's like employee contact details, and as well as employee search.
Yep.
Yep.
So our day-to-day, we are mainly focusing on SPFX. We at our company, so we also have footprints on Power Platform as well, but it is a little bit low.
Yeah, that's quite typical. Actually, so quite typical setup. If you have a SharePoint background or been a long time on this system, typically, so there's kind of a two historical routes where people are coming from. It's either Dynamics or business applications or SharePoint, because both have existed for such a long time. And then we have newer people who are joining on Power Platform or joining on Teams or
.NET.
whatever.
Like we just have a guest from .NET background, so
I get it, but I'm referring to this more, SaaS cloud, what we have within the Microsoft. But fair point. I was a .NET developer as well, so definitely.
I wasn't.
Well, actually, ASP. Yeah, I did VP4, VP5, VP6, OCX controls, all of that stuff, and then .NET. So
I did Pascal, Delphi,
Oh my gosh.
PHP. Yeah, who hurt me, right?
Yes.
Well,
That explains a lot, doesn't it? So
Yeah, well, I mean, so I think before I did Pascal, I might have done VBA. I'm trying to get back in memory, it's like which I've done first, because I've done quite some work with VBA, building apps on Excel and Access.
Yep.
That was so cool. Like you could build forms, you could build a fully fledged app on Access.
True.
Vesa and Waldek, can I ask you a question?
Oh yeah, totally.
Sure.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you. So I know this will be a really typical question to you, Vesa. But yes, maybe I could. I feel like I'll get a honest answer from you.
Always.
Do you prefer code solutions or no code solutions?
Code.
Oh, that's an interesting question. So, well, I would say
Really
always
short
that
answer.
It depends. But it's highly dependent. So there are multiple benefits of a pro developer storyline from a ALM CDCI. You can take the code from one location to another and cross the tenants. You can productize that. You can sell it. You can, I come from the background where that's been more the point and thinking point. The low code, yes, absolutely. You can do absolutely awesome stuff, and I love the fact that we can empower the end users to do things, but it has its limitations. What if the part of the customer merges tenants and they need to move the one solution to another tenant or all of that? So until pretty recently, that was completely impossible with Power Platform. You just couldn't, you just couldn't export and apply to another tenant. So from that perspective, always more a pro code because it gives you that flexibility and more professional development. I'm a developer. I was forced to learn infrastructural things on SharePoint because of the master certification stuff.
Forced.
Well, customer projects. Did I wanted to understand what are IOPS on the SSD disks and what kind of disks we need to order for the servers? No, I really didn't, but I needed to learn that as part of the job at some point. So definitely more a developer. But then again, it's I think I hate I would say that I hate the fact that we would have to choose. It's either or isolation, because again, low code, no code does enable again end users to do more, and that's not a bad thing.
I mean, let me caveat that. Like, if you ask me, you actually just did. I prefer code. Like, I love to code. Being able to code gives me the ability to debug and step through things, and I have full control, or I can choose to have as much control as I want to about the things that I write. However, the other day I wanted to write something that would clean up my deleted items in Outlook. How I went about that, I built a flow.
Because that was ready to use bits and pieces.
Because I don't need to, like, I know exactly how I would need to do that, but it's a solution for me. Like, it's something that I want to have running in the background with as little fuss, because like, it's something that I want to have it done without having to worry about uptime and tokens. Like, I don't need the control, because it's not. I mean, it's a trivial, simple thing that I need to do, and with that, I don't care to have the control for code. So with that, I chose to build a flow because I can do it in minutes. I can just go click the few things. I go to Outlook, get deleted items, iterate over them, delete them from the bin. Done. Doing the same in code, well, good luck with that. You have to have key vault, you have to have secret, you have to register the app, you have to get the token, you have to why? If I can achieve the same thing with just a few clicks. So it's kind of this interesting thing where I prefer to do things in code.
It depends.
Well, it's interesting, and that's something that I would probably like to explain why. I would probably need to lay down on a sofa and have something like, so tell me, how do you feel about this actually?
But as an example, one of the great examples which we're talking with Waldek, and also Chris Kent does this absolutely amazing, mind-boggling, JSON definition demos in low code, no code lists and things. How would you debug them? You can't. It either works or not. That's it. You have a one lower than or a one slash in a wrong place in the JSON. just stops working.
But what is the alternative, right? Like rebuilding the whole list experience?
As a .NET, or as a SharePoint framework solution, that's a lot of work. But again, in certain scenarios, maybe that is needed so that the end users can be safe, or how would I put it? End users cannot break the thing. But in certain scenarios, it again empowers people. So
I mean, it's good to have the options, and it's good to realize what different options you have, and basically it's another tool in toolbox. And you use your experience and judgment to pick the right one. I prefer to do things in code. That said, if it makes sense, I will use no-code thing. The same way, I can go somewhere by car because I own it, but I can also choose to go by train or a bus or just walk if it makes sense.
True.
So that's true. I mean, maybe I to add to this, I would say that going with code, you have the complete control over it. Wherein like no code, you may not have that, and you have to do a lot of research behind it as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
there are
like
implications
with
on no code as well. Yes.
Yeah, but it's like you can almost see it as developing on a platform comes with empowerment, but also so cost. Like it offers you, the more you buy into platform, the more building blocks you can use, and that gives you efficiency and speed. But it also comes with a price. You trade control for building blocks you get, right? Because on Power Platform, you don't get to step through code. You don't get to choose how do you exactly, pull connections and reuse connections and cache things. None of that is exposed to you because it's meant to be simple, convenient to use, and so forth and so on. So if you don't need the control over that, perfect. If you do, then the cool thing is you've got another option, which is code, right? So you can really get to like turn on every single knob you want, from caching to reverse proxying calls, deploying your infrastructure, caching, queuing things. You can go mad, right? So it's really cool to have kind of this range of options, and then being able to choose what makes sense.
Yep.
Got it. Yes.
You can see that we are both ex-consultants. Asking a simple question takes 15 minutes to answer. So
my original answer was really short, just single word code. However,
I really wanted to ask this question, Vesa. No, so, it's highly nuanced. In my dream world, we would have 500% more developers in SharePoint framework, and we would be able to do much more across the Microsoft 365 stack. But again, we have certain limits right now. We have certain roadmap and stuff going forward, and yes, we will have awesome stuff coming in 19 and 20 and all of those versions. But again, and I'm all for coding, but then again, in certain cases.
And also maybe to add to that, it's also great that like kind of the partnership, the relationship that we've got with community, right? There are things that only we can build at Microsoft because it's a service, right? Like community cannot add an API to platform because you just can't. But things like control, provision, all the different things on top of it, that is so cool, right? That we've got all these passionate and highly skilled folks who build on top of everything that we offer to offer even more, right? So that people who build on top of that can achieve even more and can do it more easily and faster and quicker and more robust, and that we kind of raise the bar and allow people to focus on the truly unique things as opposed to have everybody reinvent the wheel. So I think, yes, like there will always be a limit, right? Like it's an illusion to say that, there will be no limits and we can wave the wand and have everything. Like, no, that's not the case. And I think that's good because constraints often lead to creative things.
True.
Right? But it also comes with a cost that we cannot do everything. So it's really good that we have, partnership with folks who can build on top of us and enrich and also empower everybody else.
Absolutely. And if you think about your background as a Pascal or Fortran or whatever you were building, think about the abstraction layers as we go more and more. It gets easier. We have more out-of-the-box features, functionalities in Visual Studio. There's much easier things to do rather than when we started writing code, which is great. That's evolution.
It's been 84 years.
Pretty much. Yes. Pretty
It's
much.
been
84.
84 years.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Right.
Gross.
Yes.
Yes.
See what you did.
Yep, that's reference indeed. Now, I guess it's time to start wrapping up. That was really fun, Nish, to catch up. And I'm jealous that you seem to have a sunny day, so in Stockholm with some bit of
That is true.
jealousy.
Yes. It's just started to become sunny and then
Okay.
probably some gray as well.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Those Central Europeans like Waldek has been enjoying the spring already for such a long time.
Central
We'll get there.
Europeans. What?
Central Europe.
There you go.
That's
There's a
good.
lot of sun in here. I was like, oh, it's so orange. Oh, there you go. It's white now.
Anyway, sorry. Thank you, Nish, for joining. Really cool to have you on the show. Great to catch up. And we'll definitely get to show on the another time after a while. That's a typical thing what we're going to do also, to come back and talk about things, how they evolve within a past year or 2 years since the previous visits. But really cool to have you on the show.
Thank you very much, Vesa. I mean, I'm really glad. I would say like I feel lucky as well to have been in this show with you, the two legends opposite. I
you.
was like I was not able to speak in the beginning, but then it went all cool. Thank you very much.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Nish, for this one. And
Thank you, Nish.
within the show, I will jump on the weekly articles and recapping on what's happened with Waldek. But thank you, Nish, on this one. Really, really cool.
Thank you, Nish.
All right. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Nish, one more time on the great interview. Great to see you in the call, and looking forward on catching up in person as well. So that was a good discussion on the journey, and I think a lot of good tips and things and other discussion points in the show as well. And thank you for asking questions from us as well.
Yeah, totally.
We have opinions as well.
We wear them like
No.
badges. No.
Cool. Let's jump on the weekly articles. We're going to do this relatively fast today, just from a timing perspective as well. But let's start with from the Microsoft Teams blog announcement called Recording Insights from Microsoft Teams. Additional data, additional insight, additional information, which is available. A lot of cool stuff on here available for the call details, which is great. This is awesome additional information from there. There was also a blog post related to Microsoft 365 Community Conference IT Session Spotlight. So M365 Community Conference is coming within 2 weeks. 2 weeks now. We are in a pre-workshop day because we're recording this on Monday. So a lot of cool stuff there across the Copilot, AI, all of the other products as well, or how the AI is transforming the products, and a lot of details across the stack. Excuse me, but looking forward on meeting up people over there in person. Close. On the Microsoft 365 blog, improve cost efficiency by utilizing forecasting service in Dynamics 365 customer service. And this is a good. Obviously, Dynamics is part of the larger Microsoft Cloud, and all of that information getting aggregated on the same Azure instances and all of that. So you can actually get insights in the same way as you can get insight on team stuff. We are surfacing more information about the Dynamics usage as well. Why is there a feedback form always? Now, on the Microsoft Viva blog, there was also a new blog post related on what's in the Microsoft 365 community conference around Viva, and there's a lot of other stuff around Viva. It will be definitely covered in the Jeff Deeper's keynote, and then multiple other sessions available across the Viva technical stack. Just watching. My Viva session is not mentioned here. This is the typical challenge of people. No, what? Oh,
you will get to it. You will get to it.
There
yes,
it is. No, that's not that is not the session. Okay, it is a dev session, so I guess then that wasn't actually mentioned there. It was a bit of a sad thing, but it was already covered in the developer one, so it's okay. So That is fine as well. Now, we also had a blog post on new features in the Viva Engage to help you roll out and adapt Copilot. So basically having a Copilot community starting point and assets, which are helping to adapt the usage directly within a product. I love the fact that we're already in our product maturity is heading to a direction where we have ready-to-use content as part of the products as well, which is like it should be. So it's not just the capabilities and starting point.
Here's the bits, figure it out.
Or,
No. Here is the guidance too. Yeah.
Exactly. Like a Copilot adaption kit in Viva Amplify, same here. So basically making sure that people can more efficiently start using Copilot. I think Copilot, it definitely saves time and definitely super valuable. I think it's more about educating people on where to use it and what does it actually help us to do.
Yeah.
So which is important. Pre-crafted publications for the Copilot rollouts, as an example, which is a really
cool. Yeah.
Microsoft Copilot Academy now generally available. As feedback for.
We really want to know what you think.
Really?
Yes.
But on the Microsoft Viva Learning side, Microsoft Copilot Academy is now available, and that has a lot of additional information and content and training material on the Microsoft Copilot, as expected. Everything is in Copilot right now, but that is understandable. So definitely, it is a new area where we want people to learn into. New nested app authentication for Office add-ins, something not about Copilot, but Office add-ins, definitely a widely adapted technology in the Office clients. And this is a public preview on nested app authentication, which provides a simpler authentication and top-tier identity protection through APIs designed specifically for add-ins in-house. Interesting. Haven't looked super detailed on what this is all about, but if you are in the Office add-in side, definitely worthwhile to look into what does it actually mean and what will that enable you to do within your solutions. So which is really cool. Good that we are evolving things. On the other developer blog post was the building custom Copilots in Microsoft Teams with Teams app test tool and dev proxy. What is this all about?
Yeah, so basically the idea is, right, that when you build an app on Microsoft 365, it depends on a few things, right? Depending on your app, it will have a dependency on Azure services, on Microsoft Teams, bot framework, and all of that. And while you will want to run your app on that eventually, we are experimenting with different ways. How can we simplify the development so that the moment you start building the app, you can just press F5 and see it work without having to go through the end-to-end deployment and spinning up all services on Azure, because it's costly and it takes time. Yep. Right, so we're looking at different ways and all the different tools that we've got available to us to look for ways into which we can cut basically the time that you spend in inner loop, which is when you build the actual code and test things to see if they work. So this is one example that you would use when you would build a custom pilot on Microsoft Teams. What different tools you would use to have this end-to-end experience to debug your app without having to deploy anything to Azure and Microsoft 365. So definitely check it out, give it a chance, and tell us what you think.
Cool. Really cool. Awesome. And it's great to see how we're building on the, the idea of dev proxy, even more scenarios, like it should be. Really cool. On the Power Platform side, there was the release wave 1 kicks off with 100 AI-powered capabilities, Microsoft Dynamics 365 and Microsoft Power Platform. And I really like this idea of release waves, what they have in Power Platform side. So Power Platform has a massive organization, but they bundle a lot of the announcements and new features to twice a year waves, and then they basically share what's coming advanced, which is awesome. It really gives you the structure of rolling out things in a bigger scale. So we don't have this in Microsoft 365 as such, but it's really nice that they're doing this on the Power Platform and Dynamics side. Clear communications, I think that's the key point here. Power FX column names escape double quotes. So basically, rolling syntax chains on how column names are specified in some function arguments, which might impact your existing solution. So that's something to be aware of. So really good. There was also a April 2024 ALM blog, what's new and what's means to you. So basically ALM scenarios. I think Power Platform is getting more and more aligned on the ALM. So you're technically able to move applications more easily from one tenant to another and all of that stuff, which is great. And even more coming up in build. So this is, they're really pushing or catching up, well, not catching up. They're introducing Power App, evolving. Yes, that's good. That's a good way of doing that. Good way of saying that. So yes. Hyper automation, unleashing enterprise efficiency with Microsoft Power Automate. Conceptual article more on what the Power Automate actually provides, optimizing with precision, leveraging the power of AI. So scenarios, what we can actually do with Power Automate. And these are always good because, again, we are the tooling is fine, and tooling has AI. Okay, but what does it mean? It has this awesome API. Okay, cool. What is it intended to be used as an end user? And we quite often fail on that messaging. So having this kind of a messaging is always good. Now, we also had an announcement related on our Microsoft 365 Power Platform community team, which was really cool. So we have 4 new members, part of the core team, coordinating a lot of the action. So actually, all of these 4 people have been closely involved already for a long time. So Katarina has been helping on the Power Apps and Power Platform samples as people are contributing. She's been reviewing them and merging things up. Rashmi has been closely involved in the scripts and contributing on SPFX for a long time. Dan Doft contributing a lot of SPFX stuff as well. And then Kasper Larsen actively involved in the PnP search web parts, which are the most widely used SPFX solutions within the world, which is pretty cool. Thank you for getting involved. Thank you for volunteering, and thank you for all of your contributions within the community areas. Now, publish SPF file to SharePoint Online from Guido. Guido's walking through what it means, how to get started on SPFX files, so solution management. We also had a SPFX audience targeting. So what does that mean from Jeppe Spankart around the audience targeting? How can we do groups and members and resolving is the user part of a member and then render things separately? Really cool technical reference point for people who are looking into doing that. Stefan van Roys had a referenced the PnP Weekly in LinkedIn related on Fabian's article on the FIDO 2 passkeys and GUIDs, and what does it actually mean that there's also a GitHub repo available, PowerShell gallery on how to get started and on using those methods on authentication. And a few videos. April had a new video on Power Apps tutorial, crafting your own modern theme. Important thing as well. What? No Copilot and AI? What? No. All of the baseline functionalities are also needed. So AI decorates and AI adds features, but we do still need to have themes and colors and functionalities. Now, Shane had an article on to improve Power Apps functions, which are available for you. That's not necessarily the okay. Anyway, so new stuff there. Steve Corey had a new video related on SharePoint Online has automatic metadata fields, which is really cool. That is true. In the SharePoint Premium site, it will actually detect and add metadata automatically for you. And then the final article from Amy, aka SharePoint Wizard, is how to embed the new Microsoft list form into your SharePoint page. So end-user powered technology is there. Cool. I guess that's it. Relatively fast one. Trying to keep it under the 1 hour, right?
Yes.
So this is good. So, but thank you, Nish, for a great discussion today. That was really cool. And I guess that's it, Waldek, right?
That is it.
We'll be back again within a week. Cheers, everybody.
See ya.
Let's stay in touch. Bye-bye.